Welcome to Success with Significance. I'm Darryl Baskin of eXp Realty, and today we have a very special guest, Joe McGraw, the founder of McGraw Realtors. And I've actually been looking forward to this particular interview for a long time. Many of you who know my background know that I started with another company for a short period of time, but spent the majority of my life at McGraw Realtors, and have a lot of gratitude for this gentleman that's sitting next to me, both as a mentor, a friend, and a business partner. So there's a lot of history here, and I think people miss out on how much impact you've had, Joe, on the Tulsa community. Now, I've got to lay the groundwork here. This is your show. This is about Joe McGraw, so you cannot pay any compliments back to me at all. I know how you are. You do that all the time. So let's talk about you. And when did you start in real estate?
I started my company, McGraw Breckenridge, with Payton Breckenridge in 1964. We later changed it to McGraw Realtors, but Payton and I were elected to the legislature in November '64, and we started in '65, and we have grown from there.
What was Tulsa like then? I mean, what have you noticed that's really changed and been so significant?
The prices were outstanding then. We sold nice homes, big homes, for $25,000, $35,000. I remember buying 2 duplexes at 13th in Utica from the bank for $19,000.
Wow.
4 units. Things have changed quite a bit in those years since 1965.
You've been part of Tulsa's growth in many ways, and from an influential standpoint, I remember before the extension to 169 was there, you helped develop what we now know as the 71st Street corridor, and I don't know to what extent, but I know it was pretty substantial that we now enjoy that shopping district thanks to work that you did.
Yes, we bought 160 acres at 71st and Garnett, and then we sold 19 acres to the state of Oklahoma for the Highway 169, and then we bought another 80 acres south of our 160 acres that we later sold to the Union School District in Hampton South Homes.
Yeah, that's new information. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so it was 240 acres way back in the early 70s.
Talking about that kind of vision, I mean, that was just when I went to Union High School, there was a one of those 4-sided lights that hung on the cable that stretched across the road, and it was just a 4-way intersection. That was it. I mean, 2 lanes, 1 lane each direction, I guess, and then a 4-way stop and another. What kind of vision did you have at the time to ever see this much happening? What gave you that?
I had an associate that I knew when I was going through law school by the name of John Sublett, and he went out at 71st and Memorial when there was just a tiny little gas station out there on the southwest corner, and bought the northeast corner of the acreage, and then later sold that to Woodland Hills Shopping Center. So that all developed in the Woodland Hills Shopping Center. So nothing was out in that area. I mean, our 160 acres and then our 80 acres after that were all just farmland, crops and different things. And I can remember picking up my young daughter one time, walking through the area and being scratched by the briar bushes. It was so wild out there.
Yeah.
Animals and such as well roaming the area.
What did you do before real estate? You were in the legislature. You'd had McGraw Breckenridge, but how did you get into real estate in the first place?
Well, I graduated from the University of Notre Dame with political science degree, and then I went on to Tulsa University Night Law School.
Night law school?
Night Law School for 4 years, from 6 to 8 every evening. I worked in the daytime for Kewanee Oil Company for those 4 years, and then the last 2 years of my law school, after class, I worked as a law librarian at night and then on weekends. So that really helped me in later years, being a member of the bar, to work on contracts, work on title problems, to work with other attorneys in closings. So it was helpful to me.
And so that transition into real estate, did anything in particular just draw you into that? Was there an epiphany that took place?
I'd say that our company, got involved. It was a small company originally, but then Jack Braswell, a very fine agent, joined our company, and then I had some other lovely people join our company, and we were located at 721 South Main in downtown Tulsa, and right across the street from Standard Abstract.
Describe that progress from that small company to how many offices does McGraw have today?
Well, right
seven?
now we have eight. We have 8.
Okay. And when I joined McGraw, there were only 2, I think.
There was only 2. There was our Harvard office and the 81st Street office that you were in.
Now, McGraw Realtors has been for a long time the state's largest independent real estate broker. Now, it's hard to stay independent in this type of market. Describe some of the decisions and things that you've done that have made. I know lots of people go into this, but you've really been at the direction of the whole ship, and yet you've maintained that.
Well, it's partly, I'd love to give credit to where credit is due. It's partly from the training that I had when I was first joined Crouch, Davis, and Mohall. These were 3 wonderful gentlemen, and they were classy men of fine ethics, and they never compromised on that, and I just believed that I couldn't have been with 2 or 3 other fine people, and so they mentored me a lot in those early years, and that really gave me the foundation that when I wanted to go off on my own and join Payton Breckenridge and start our company, that
they gave you their blessing to do that.
Oh yeah, they were encouraging, and as you well know, I later merged with them, and we bought Crouch, Davis, and Stewart in 1986, and that's about the time that you were joined us.
It was around 1989.
89, okay.
89, 90.
Well, we merged with Crouch, Davis, and Stewart, and then I just bought them out. But they were just such fine gentlemen. Dan Davison was quite involved at that time.
Yeah, we had a very long name back when it was McGraw, Davis, and Stewart Realtors. And if I said McGraw, Davis, and Stewart Realtors making a sales call at the time, people would they wouldn't hear the Realtors, they would just think I was an attorney. So maybe it was just good for that immediate respect when I was 20 years old.
I think we had one of the longest names in town.
Absolutely. Well, this program's geared very much for a business crowd and people who are running a business and maybe dealing with daily frustrations. And you've obviously had lots of those frustrations as a business owner. As a matter of fact, I've got to say this. If I wanted to determine how reasonable someone was, I could ask them, what do you think of Joe McGraw? And if they had anything negative to say, I would know that they're not reasonable. You just seem to handle things very well and have that about you. What do you find most frustrating? I don't know that I could tell.
In the past, I'd say working with sales associates on their daily challenges, working with management, planning our future, handling investments, but that was fun too.
Yeah.
It was frustrating, helping agents with problems, but it was inviting. I enjoyed it.
Well, you're watching Success with Significance. I'm Darryl Baskin. We're talking with Joe McGraw, the founder of McGraw Realtors, a name that everybody recognizes here in town. And we've got some more coming up, really getting into some personal things, learning more about kind of a Tulsa legend, if I can say that, because you've been around since 1960 what?
1965. And then, of course, I joined Crouch Davis and Mulhall in 1961 when I came back from California. I would like to say this. I worked for the Bank of America in the trust department in California for a year after I got out of law school. And then I had an opportunity to work for two entrepreneurs in the Berkeley area, young guys in their 30s.
Berkeley, California?
Berkeley, California. We were just a mile from the California campus, in University of California campus in Berkeley. And these two guys were very successful, and they hired me to be their office manager for about a year. And then I decided that I wanted to go back to Tulsa and start in the real estate business in Tulsa, which I thought had my best opportunities.
It obviously worked out for you.
I'm blessed.
Well, let's come back with more right after this.
Okay.
Have you ever gotten a mortgage, bought your house, got a mortgage, and within like weeks you have a different mortgage company? Well, that's the servicing department. The servicing has changed. Dan Newberry, TTCU, the credit union, explain what's going on there.
Yeah, so a lot of lenders, what they'll do is they close a loan, they close it for another lender in another state. At TTC, the credit union, we just believe that we need to take care of our members. And in order to do that, we need to service them after the loan closes. So not only will your loan go through our processing department, which we've already talked about, but it'll also go through our closing department, where they prepare the documents, the funding, which happens inside servicing, where they send the money to the closing table. And then if you have any questions, you can call back and talk to your servicing agent, who's right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to discuss your mortgage.
So that's really more like a relationship rather than just a piece of paper that's traded like an asset?
Right. Well, we believe that we want to be the financial partner you can trust. And how can we do that if we don't have a long-term relationship with you? And so when you call in and talk to one of our servicing agents, they're going to know all about your loan. They're going to know when you closed it. They're going to know how long you've been a member. They're going to know the issues that are important to you. And we're going to make sure that we take care of your loan, not just before it and during it, but after it closes.
Well, and I'm guessing that can be really valuable when, if you're like me, oops, I forgot to make my payment, and I can drop it off at one of the TTCU locations.
Right. We have over 16 locations you can go and drop your payment off to physically. You can also pay online. If you want to go through one of our online engines, you can do that, or you can call one of our servicing agents and they can help you take it through a draft on your account.
Mortgage loan servicing that stays local here at TTCU, the credit union. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Darryl. I'm Darryl Baskin here at one of my favorite properties on the market today. It's 32 acres with a house and a fantastic group of 3 ponds, a Morton building that's 60 by 40, just a phenomenal country setting. Look at this Victorian design with 2 master suites, a breathtaking chandelier, all the modern amenities you would expect, but a balcony off the master suite, a screened porch on 2 sides of the property, and something where you can just enjoy the outdoors all year long. This is one place you don't want to miss. Find out more, click the link that you see on your screen, and let's schedule a private viewing. Well, today's program brought to you by Minavision, eXp Realty, and TTCU, the credit union. I'm Darryl Baskin, state broker for eXp Realty, visiting with my good friend, and you really have been a mentor to me, Joe, for so many years, Joe McGraw. And it goes back to
I guess I was 19 when I met you. I walked into your office, and probably when I was 20, and I was intimidated, really. I think copies, I wanted to start a newsletter for one of my neighborhoods that I worked, and I wanted to deliver 350 of those every year or every month, and I couldn't afford the copying and the paper. And of course back then it was like 5 cents for a copy front and back, but that quickly would add up when you're trying to make all your other payments. And so I walked into your office and I said, sir, Mr. McGraw, you don't remember this, do you?
No.
I said, would it be okay? I mean, would you at least let me do this for a few months? Because I was supposed to pay for it as an associate. And you graciously said yes, at a time when I was so young that people would not, the first couple of brokers that I interviewed with, you don't know this, I don't think, said, well, you seem like a nice young man, but why don't you come back when you learn how to work? And so it was not a friendly business for young people. But you, for whatever reason, just said, well, young man, why don't you do this, and we'll give it a shot. We'll come back and look at that in a few months and see how it goes. Well, that's what led to a really robust career for me, because someone gave me an opportunity. And you did that in many ways. It's always made me wonder a little bit more about who is Joe McGraw after he leaves the office. What is it that you do? What keeps you grounded?
Well, I like going home, working in the yard. In the summertime, my wife and I swim in the evening. We take our dogs for a walk together. We work with other members of the family. We invite our children over and spend time with them. We like to be involved in the community. I'm involved with Tulsa Botanical Garden, and we're building a world-class garden. We had a groundbreaking
Here in Tulsa.
In Tulsa, it's 6 miles northwest. It's in Post Oak area. It's 6
I
miles
passed
northwest.
a sign that said Tulsa Botanical Garden to the right. I was lost coming back. Actually, not lost. Realtors can't be lost. I was exploring new territory, and it had this sign over to the right. And I thought, I didn't know Tulsa had a botanical garden.
It's 170 acres. We're developing 60 of the 170 acres. We had groundbreaking yesterday for a $3 million floral garden that will be finished in about a year from now. Well, our opening will be in October of next year. And then we have a children's garden that we're starting shortly in a month or two next door to our floral garden. So it's going
This
to be...
will be a real destination then, it sounds like.
It's a world-class... It's going to be a world-class garden. It's the grounds and the location's very attractive.
You've done a lot in Tulsa. What else are you a part of? The Brush Creek Bazaar?
Yeah, Bazaar. My wife started that 38 years ago. And that's for a program in Jay, Oklahoma, on a 900 acres that she gave the boys at Brush Creek, and they're from 14 to 18, nonviolent, alcohol, mostly boys that get in trouble with alcohol and drugs.
Get them back on the right track.
And it's Christian oriented, and it's 86% non-recidivism. These boys don't get into trouble. You pull them out of their environment. That helps.
Yeah, and that's just two. Keep going. I mean, you're amazing.
Well, I'm involved in activities out at Tulsa University. We have the town hall today. I'm missing that town hall. We have a lot of other community projects that my wife and I enjoy participating in. We're going tonight to the Sudden Research Avian dinner at the Mayo Hotel we're always trying to keep involved in some sort of city activity.
I think one of the most telling things about the company that you founded was or is today. If you drive by 41st and Harvard, you see a sign. Okay, well, this is a sign. We all have to advertise. I have to advertise, so I bought a moving truck. Little things like that. But what you did was so good for the city, and I think people take it for granted. You've got to have a sign. You have a nice, attractive sign up there on the corner, but I could not imagine how much you've paid in landscaping fees. For how many years has that been there?
It's been since the late 70s.
You just carved out this little corner, and we drive by and we get to see an attractive sign with a very nice landscaped corner that could have just as easily been just an ugly fence. And that has been there for years and really become a landmark to the center of Tulsa. And it's just the thought that seems to be in the back of your mind with every single thing you do.
Well, my children are involved in landscaping in different capacities, and I've always loved working in the yard, getting my feet and my hands and everything dirty.
Are you still traveling a lot?
We do. We take 1 or 2 trips a year. We've gone every place from Antarctica to, we've gone to over 80 different countries, and we've gone from Antarctica to the Arctic Circle, and we have enjoyed traveling, and we still like to do that.
For someone younger watching, what would you tell them as a new business person, and what would you say if you had a do-over? What would you do again? What would you advise somebody to avoid?
Okay, I would say set high goals for yourself. Surround yourself with nice, talented, smart people. Ask them to get involved in the community, either their church or the community affairs or government. And dedicate yourself to working hard. And the cream will rise to the top, and you will find many opportunities in learning, excelling in your business, and so on. So I think that young people have wonderful opportunities.
I've got to throw another thing out here. We're going to have to wrap this up here in a second, but the lights on ceremony, I just got to give more and more kudos to you and your associates at McGraw Realtors. Very proud to have that as my heritage, by the way, even though I'm not there anymore. The lights on ceremony was something that came from the associates there at your company.
Jenny Fox and Dan Brown.
Of why are we spending all this money on this self-serving Christmas party?
Yeah.
And why don't we put it back in the community? So they came to McGraw and said, we want to do something that's good for the community that we can all participate in. And it's become an annual event where a place where people used to not want to congregate, and that was the Kendall Whittier area, very transitional, very rough. And today it is becoming like this reinvented shopping district and place that people want to live, and there are new buildings, and the old is being refaced, even more that's going on right now, and that came from a lot of community support from places like McGraw Realtors.
We started it 12 or 13 years ago. Jenny Fox and Dan started it 12 or 13 years ago. We have lots of food, lots of festivities. You know, the children. It's mostly Hispanic. It is lights on in the Whittier, Kendall Whittier area, and we have about 700 children that come, and we give them half of them books in Spanish and half in English. And
Santa Claus is there.
Santa Claus,
mariachi bands
is there, and mariachi bands, and lots of food, and tamales and sauces, and just tasty foods.
You want to see something fun? That's open to the community. And you want to go check that out. And if you haven't been along Lewis there around 4th Street, 3rd Street, see what's happening. Some real great things in the city.
Well, it's the first Saturday in December, so I think that's the 4th, I believe, 4th of December. So it's a fun, festive night.
Well, Joe, thank you for coming to be on my little program here. It's something that's very special. And I'm proud to call you a friend and appreciate everything that you've done for Tulsa. I say that on behalf of a lot of people who are aware of what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Darryl.
You've been watching Success with Significance. I'm Darryl Baskin. We will catch another program here in a couple of weeks here on Tulsa Live Events. Make sure you click follow and find out what's happening around Tulsa. Experience more here at TulsaLiveEvents.com.